Hi, my name is Leon Jongsma, Naturologic, and today I want to show you some exercise I call the square. Now the square is an exercise I use to teach my horses to steer, but I also teach it to almost every client I have teaching, because it also teaches a person to steer properly on their horse in Western style. And this exercise really gets your horse to steer in one hand very quickly as well. Some people have trouble transitioning from two hands to one hand, and this exercise will make that a lot easier as well. So this exercise just get great steering on your horse. That's what it's all about, getting control of where you're going. Now the first question I always ask people when I first start teaching this exercise is, which part of the horse do you actually steer? I mean, you know, the horse has a neck, it has a head, it's got a butt, it's got a rib cage, it's got shoulders, it's got front feet, back feet. So a lot of people, when I ask that question, they'll say, yeah, I'll steer his head because I'll pull his head to the inside and then I'll follow with his body. Well, that's partly true, but not really. So the right answer there is you're steering the shoulders of the horse and the front feet that are attached to it. So when you control the horse's front feet, you're going to be controlling a lot of what the horse does. See, when you see a horse out in the pasture with other horses, if they, you know, they're kind of pushing one another, they always do that by using their shoulders. Even a baby with his mom, they'll always be, when you see baby with his mom, they'll be trotting or walking or whatever on the height of where the mom's shoulder is. Now, mom's controlling the filly or the foal with the shoulders. It's telling it where to go when they're out trotting in the pasture or whatever. So shoulders is a key control feature for a horse, because even when you have one on the hand, you know, everybody knows this feeling if you handle horses a little bit. You got a big, strong horse that's kind of, you know, on the peckish side, and you're trying to lead it out somewhere, and they're just pushing that shoulder in you. You know, they're trying to get in front of you. The first thing they'll do is kind of look to the outside of where you're standing, and they'll kind of push that shoulder in, which is again another way of a horse to kind of, you know, boss you around, trying to push you out of the way with his shoulders. And this is why getting control of the shoulders of the horse, especially when you're riding, is very, very important. A lot more important than controlling where his head goes. Okay, so let's get into the square. So we're going to be steering the shoulders. So I'm not really worried about where the head goes in this. Let me just show you one time. The square is literally what it's called. You're going to be riding a square. Now in Western riding, we steer with our outside rein by putting it on the horse's neck, which is called neck reining. So neck reining means I'm putting the rein, I'm pressing it against the horse's outside neck, and that way he'll move his shoulders to the opposite side. I'm going to be riding a square in that way. Now this horse steers pretty well. I mean, I put him in a snaffle today to show you this, but he basically steers in one hand in a bit. But he's not as broke. He's had about 6 months of training, so I can show you a little bit. If you get a horse that's really broke on this, you can't even really show it, because some of the cues we're going to be using are going to be too strong because the horse already steers. Now this horse steers okay as well. If you see, when I put my outside rein here, he'll move right away. I mean, he can turn around a little bit too. So to teach your horse this, you're going to be repeating 3 cues over and over again throughout every corner of that square. The first thing is that, like I said, neck rein. You're going to be putting your, being a little bit lazy here, putting your outside rein against his neck, like this. Outside rein, he steers, let go. Now again, like with everything, we're applying the same rules for the cues. There's another video about that. Apply these rules to get your cues right, the way that you do this. The second cue for teaching this is I bump my inside rein. You see, when I do that, he'll steer extra. This is what it looks like a little bit closer. I'm going to go in left, outside rein, bump my inside rein, then let go. So that's cue number 2. Cue number 3 is I'm going to be bumping my outside leg one time. So you're going to be getting outside rein, inside rein, outside leg. And my outside leg, I mean, I have spurs on now, but you don't need those, especially for this. You're just going to be bumping it one time. And it might be a little bit firmer or it might be a little bit softer depending on how your horse reacts. So one more time. outside rein, bump my inside rein, outside leg. Now he'll almost turn around when I do it because he steers quite well. To the right sometime. Outside rein, inside rein, outside leg. See, he'll start to turn around. And he turns around because he moves his shoulders. He's moving his front feet. So what you're asking when you're doing a square like this, what you're asking is to move his outside front feet over his inside front feet. So when you're trying to do this in a proper square, because it'll give you 4 times a chance to repeat those cues. It's not a circle, because a circle is very different on a horse. A circle means that the horse is rounded in his body and his neck, which in this case you're going to be making 4 straight lines with 4 square corners, because it's not about getting bend in this exercise. Because you're bumping your inside rein 1 time each corner, the horse is automatically going to learn that he's got to be looking inside. So don't really worry about his head in this exercise, as long as it doesn't really go to the outside when you put on your outside rein. Okay. Now at one point, when you're going to be repeating this a lot, is the horse is going to be leaning in. Like him, he knows I'm going to be turning left now, so he's starting to steer on his own. When they do that, you got to kind of try and keep a straight line in between your corners. And you do that by just kind of pointing your hand forward in the direction you're going. So if I'm going to be riding straight to the camera here, this is 0, but I'm going to be pointing my hands over there. As you see, if he starts to go left here, I'll just point my hand slightly to the right to get him to straighten out a little bit. So at one point, if they steer a little bit better, you're going to be getting outside rein, outside leg, picking your hands up, making them straight. When he's straight, let go. Outside rein, outside leg. Make him straight, let go. So almost there, I almost kind of catch him of steering too far, because I'm using Q2 and 3, but I really don't have to. Now this is not the way you're going to be steering all the way around the arena. This is an exercise. So at one point, like I said, he steers quite well. If he steers when you put your outside rein on, you don't have to use Q2 and 3. You don't have to bump your inside rein, and you don't have to bump your outside leg. Because again, you're asking when he does it, you put applying pressure. So look at it this way. Your outside rein asks to steer, including where you're looking where you're going, so your seat's also asking. And the inside rein and outside legs are maybe, corrections for not doing it enough or not doing it in the right way. So he's starting to walk a circle a little bit here now because I was talking and not really paying attention. Now at one point you're going to be getting that as soon as you put your outside rein on slowly, the horse is going to steer. When you get that, you're almost ready to start trying that in one hand. And the same thing applies outside rein. When he steers, let go. If you're in one hand, you're steering, and he doesn't do it, or doesn't steer enough, bump your inside rein with your free hand and bump your outside leg. See, he almost starts to turn around then. Especially when they start steering a little bit better here, you might want to put some boots on so that they don't hit themselves if they cross over. So that's it for the square. I think I've covered most of the exercise. There's a couple more details on this, but the basics are here. I hope you find this video enjoyable, and I'll see you in the next one.